I don't know when it starts. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Twitch Snuffers. I am your host, Colin Connors. My wonderful co-host is not here. It's just going to be me and the panel of guys today. Joining me is the wonderful Prince Ty.
Good evening.
The always amazing Stephen Lehman.
Thanks.
And the boy from Boston, Ben Millier.
Hi, friends.
And Ben, you just got that nickname because apparently you really like Boston or you're from Boston. Anyways, we don't care about Boston. We care about Survivor. It was an interesting episode tonight. A little lackluster, but I think it did a good job of setting up the pieces for what we're going to see unfold for the rest of the season. So in terms of future setting or foreshadowing, I think this episode did a really fantastic job of doing that. And Ty, me and you, we're going to start the discussion off. What I want to ask you about is Zeke got a confessional saying like, oh my goodness, we just talked them into voting out one of the Gen Xers. One, do you think that was just there for filler, or do you think that might actually have been long-term strategy on the Gen X tribe? Because we talked about how if people aren't going to work with you, it doesn't matter what tribe they're on. So maybe the Gen Xers did do the right thing in Alien. I don't know. Just you know what I'm talking about.
Well, let's put it this way. It logically makes sense at the start of the episode to put out there that there's a shit ton of millennials and there are less Gen Xers. And I feel like that's what the confessional did. It basically set the table for the reversal that we got in the rest of the episode by pointing out, look at all the millennials, look at all the Gen Xers. I can't believe that they let all these millennials stay here. Because it is a puzzling thing that they let CeCe go based on that number schematic. And then, of course, it develops over the course of the episode. Zeke had a very big episode tonight. I think it makes sense that they showed him being the one to say this and ponder this, whereas I don't think Michelle got a very single confessional tonight. So,
but Ben,
didn't think much of it.
I get what Zeke was trying to say, Ben, but it seems to me these tribal lines don't necessarily mean that much because both Gen Xers, both Gen Xers,
of the episode.
Yeah, both Gen Xers and millennials have these factions. So,
right.
Like, do we even need to be keeping this conversation as millennials versus Gen Xers, or should it just be?
Yes, because it started off the episode thinking it's going to be a millennial slaughter of the Gen X, and then you're supposed to feel good at the end, which we will talk about at
when we
the
get
end.
to it. Well, I was talking to Ben though.
Right.
So we get rid of these lines for future discussions. The millennials versus the millennials shit.
I think it could still play a factor to a degree with some of the people. You can't just completely wipe it away, but we'll discuss it. I mean, let's
I think that this is going to be a thread that's woven through all of the episodes. Like, we're going to be continuously reminded of the theme of the season, but it's not going to define what the allegiances are.
It's not going to mean anything. Almost like a worlds apart, I guess.
Or as Sierra Dawn, or like that. I think the worlds apart thing. I distinctly remember Sierra Dawn Thomas at one tribal saying, "Jeff, we really are worlds apart." Like, it's like really cheesy.
It's silly. Okay, so that's all I really want to talk about when it comes to that. But we are going to stay with Zeke's tribe, which is like the red or orange tribe, whatever that tribe.
Manure.
We're going to talk about, manure.
Vanua. Not to be confused with Vanuatu, because people.
All right, Steven, we see these kind of dynamics starting to unfold where Zeke is smart enough to realize, hey, Michelle, she's rocking the boat in a lot of other places. Maybe I should cut her.
Yeah.
And yet you have Chris and David also kind of like working with that. Basically, where do you see this tribe going? That's my question. Is Michelle completely screwed?
I wouldn't say she's completely screwed. I'd say she has a shot if, like, maybe she can try to redirect it onto, like, David. But
where's the title?
Yeah, it's sort of. Does she have a shot? Theoretically.
We're not talking about theoreticals. Let's be real here.
Okay, yeah, she's next time because she's gonna see her girl is gone, and then everyone's like, "Oh no!" Like, so yeah, she's. I think her number's up.
Ty, I know you'll give me a much more direct answer. Is Michelle the next one gone from that tribe?
She is dead if they're not immune.
And
she didn't get a single confessional tonight.
Yep.
If we had seen a confessional from her since she got rid of Mari, maybe she'd have a chance. She doesn't, unless they would immune her.
She's filler.
Yeah. And that's the thing is we had this long conversation last week with Billy about Michelle's ethics. It's like, well, in one way they're portraying winners with a lot more flaws now, but another way when you don't get a lot of confessionals and things aren't going your way, it's kind of like maybe the writing's on the wall. Go ahead, Ty, real quick.
Hi, my name's Anna. I have boobs, and I like Trump, and I did one good thing, and then I got voted out early. Hi. That's me.
So
I'm going to probably try to vote against the big character from the season that's coming back for All-Stars Sunday. I'll see you next week.
Yeah,
that's her.
All right, so
There's your
he's hit the words out there. Michelle is Anna. We'll see if he's right.
Yeah,
I think she's like. I would say she's at a higher caliber than Anna, but I think she's like same function.
Well, it's the same idea, Birch. Okay, speaking of which, Ben, a lot was talked about Chris last week because I thought Chris had a fantastic episode. Then this week, Chris gets no confessionals. Is this a symptom of Chris not winning, or is this just the story didn't dictate it? What's your take on Chris? Just him. Just that tall guy from Oklahoma.
Can you remind me more of Chris? Because this episode did not remind me of Chris.
Yeah. The one guy that's not David or Zeke.
I think that honestly, it's weird because there has been a focus on him like in the earlier episodes, but at the same time, the fact that they didn't focus on him in this episode may mean that he is more of a person that is not focused on long term compared to the short term.
Well, and we're going to talk about this later this episode, but Steven, this kind of goes along with the theme we were talking about on last week's episode, which was that the editing this season is being pretty good at giving everybody a little something, but no one besides one player in particular is being portrayed in such an amazing winner edit. Like, no one's being basked with this, oh, you're a winner. And besides Will, and I would say Will and Sunday, everyone else is actually getting a decent amount of screen time.
Yeah, I'd say everyone's getting a good amount of airtime. I mean, obviously you have your, I guess, like very, I don't want to say obvious, but like you have like these people that are obviously in their role as like the big character. So you have someone like the Figtails romance, showmance, whatever the manse is, to quote Adam. You have, David, who's our obvious fish out of water. But yeah, no one's getting this like.
But I mean,
a good winner at it.
Yeah, right. I mean, Michelle got a good episode, episode 2. Well, and I'm saying Chris got a good episode last week, so it seems like they're doing a pretty damn good job of keeping us on our toes.
I mean, yeah, but I also think this cast is probably just a hot ass mess, so that's another option.
That is another option, but either way, Caramone could have been a hot ass mess, but they edited it really badly.
Let's not talk about the dark times, please.
But at least this one's being edited well.
Hey, at least Edgic was alive, man.
That's true. At least Edgic was alive. Yeah, Ty, remind me that we're going to do some Edgic at the end of this because I want to drive you crazy.
Wonderful.
Yep. All right. Ty, I'm going to have you lead the discussion, though, on the Green Tribe, which has Brett, which has the amazing Hannah, who's going to win the game.
Or to come to medical.
And I got really excited.
Oh, Ty, what I want to really focus on, though, is the fact that last week we were all freaking out because Michaela got this great confessional where she started the fire and she was crying and everyone was like, oh, you're so amazing. We go to Green Tribe again. Jay's crying. Jay finds an idol. Was that on the same caliber edit as Michaela, or what are they trying to do with Jay's? Because I think Jay actually has an underdog shot of winning this whole damn game. Is that? Am I reading too much into it?
Yeah. I think I wouldn't say that he has a chance of winning the game necessarily. He's a huge threat. He's like Taylor, but smart. So to that end, he's still going to be a threat down the line. Like Jay and Taylor are all people who could be the merge. But at the same time, we're supposed to care about those people who end up being the merged boot. Like Joe. We all cared about Joe, or we were supposed to care about Joe in Worlds Apart. Mm-hmm. They tried to make us care about that big guy that Kim Spradlin got rid of in, what was his name? Jay or something or other? Like, he was nominally positive despite being a big, obvious early merge boot.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we care about him a little now. And we should care about him because he just became a bigger character because he found the idol. And Michaela found it, so he's probably screwed because she's probably going to blurt it out because Michaela's at it is to, say shit like, well,
Well, yeah, Michaela gets most of this episode probably because we all love her. But go ahead, Steven.
I'll say real quick with the Jay thing. I think the Jay content that we got was situational and circumstantial rather than being like, here's a Jay scene. We want you to know more about Jay. It's like Jay found the idol. He had that really nice, sweet confessional because it was there.
So
that was what it was.
Okay, so Steven and Ben and Ty can answer this. Did Jay only get the crying confessional because he found the idol? Or did the crying confessional lead us to okay, we want to learn more about it? Because here's the thing. They could have shown him finding the idol and not shown the crying confessional. They could have done that. But why did they show the crying confessional? And anyone can respond to this.
Well, I will say this. I felt that they haven't necessarily shown him being in a pretty good position in the Millennial tribe prior to the swap. Like, I feel like he, after the Mari vote, came in like a pretty good situation because he was not tied to a specific pair, and yet he was still in the know, clearly in the know, and clearly connected within everybody in that group. Case in point, Michaela saying that she was still aligned with him earlier tonight. I don't know. I don't think he's the winner, but I think he probably makes it nominally far into the early merge, and to that end, they want us to care about him, so they made us like him more tonight.
You think that's it? And Ben, what's your take on it?
I actually agree with Ty in this case. I feel like there's focus that was made for him for this episode. Not anything that's going to make us fully invested in him going long term, but I think that it's something that keeps us invested in who he is until he is taken out of the game.
Colin here looks like Will's. Yeah. What I'm going to say, though, is this. I want all of you to keep an eye on him because since the very first episode, I've been looking at him and saying there might be something more there because he does seem to be the smarter of the, way smarter than Tails.
I mean,
Ty,
Tails.
Yeah. Go ahead real quick, Ty.
My last
I'll let you talk about my hair.
Do you know who in the pre-merge got a really emotional episode talking about how much they love their family and how they were doing this for them? Crazy Debbie.
Yes.
Let's not go on because somebody loves their family. That's.
I mean, that's a very fair point, but I don't know. I'm just getting decent vibes.
Mind you, I love Debbie Warner with the passion of 1,000 suns. If we get anything from him like her,
I'm getting good vibes. Okay, wonderful. So we got to talk about the star of the Green Tribe, who is
Michaela.
Hannah. All right, Ben. So Hannah had a pretty decent episode, I like to think, because Hannah's starting to get this arc of she has bad nerves and yet she's willing to overcome them. Or am I just projecting and the only reason Hannah got any screen time at all was because she's a nervous wreck?
Here's what I took from that scene tonight.
I'm angry by the fact that you want to say that Hannah is the star of the Green Tribe.
Yeah.
I love Hannah.
That's offensive.
Everyone knows I love Hannah. Go ahead, Ben. What is your take on that, though, of Hannah's nerves and why is that getting screen time? And couldn't they have shown something else? That's for you, Ben. Did I freeze?
No.
Oh, Ben froze. Okay. Steven, you take over that question.
I'm lagging. I'm here back. I'm back.
He's back. Okay.
So my thing is Hannah feels very much like Aubrey Light to me.
Yeah.
Like she's reminiscent of Aubrey in her cautious edit, her anxious tendencies. But they're highlighting too much on the fact that she is anxious all the time. Like, it's making her feel like she's going to go into, like, a nervous breakdown every time there's a challenge. Like, that is the first time that somebody has been medically looked at a challenge when they did not participate in the challenge.
Actually, wait. Steven.
Go on.
Yep.
Steven. San Juan del Store. Did Missy get her foot?
San Juan del Store.
San Juan del Store. Did Missy get her foot looked at after she didn't participate in that challenge?
That was before.
It was before the challenge?
Remember she had the foot problem?
Okay, it was before the challenge. Okay, I was trying to defend
Hannah. During the challenge.
It was also during the merge, so of course she was participating.
Hey, because I know she said I have some challenges, Steven, all right? I'm just trying to defend Hannah. Ty.
Okay.
Hold on. We're about to be done with Hannah. Ty, Edgic-wise, how does Hannah win?
Here's what I got out of the scene tonight, Colin. I got out of the scene that, party sale's probably dead. You're going to give up on acting to become a doctor so that you can medically treat Hannah and bring her back to health so that she loves you. That's what I got out of that scene tonight. I think she might. I think she'll be around at the merge. I think she'll be a character. I think she might become a useful player to somebody who has a chance of winning. Here's the thing. The comparison to Aubrey makes sense in terms of her nervousness, in terms of the fact that she's a nerdy girl acclimating to her surroundings. We haven't seen shit from her in terms of strategy, in terms of how she's actually thinking about playing this game. which means that she is not our winner.
Yeah.
But could
Sorry, Colin. It's dead.
But
No.
could it?
She's a great filler player for the season.
All right.
I think another.
I'm gonna make one more comment on Hannah before we move on.
Well,
I think it's maybe the next time they go to tribal council, she does really, really well, and she does great strategy.
Real quick on Hannah.
No,
real
Steven.
quick on it. I have a real quick editorial note on Hannah.
I will mute you. I'm gonna mute you. I'm gonna do it.
Okay, can you do it?
All right. So time to move on.
They're not going to tribal council, by the way.
We're Now it's time to talk about the wonderful Michaela. Michaela is the one person I believe is getting the strongest edit this episode or this season by far. Now she knows that Jay has the idol. She knows, I think, maybe in a way not to even trust Jay because of the whole, hey, he kept this away from me. And that's completely dominated the challenge. My only thing about Michaela is that during the challenge like today, they emphasize her bossing Hannah around, and she has been shown to be like a bit more power hungry, a bit more controlling. Could this come back and bite her in the ass at final six? Steven, I'll let you take this to cut you off.
Yeah, but I also think they showed her bossiness sort of in a way that you're also like, oh, that's just Michaela being Michaela. Like, is she bossy? Yeah, but you know what? She's probably right. Like, so it's still a better edit than Tony got in 21. Well, and another thing with Michaela is, like, I feel like if they wanted to, they really could have made it a lot worse than what they did. Like, they showed Michaela leading, like, bossing Hannah around to the win. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know. I think
asserted her bossiness as a positive characteristic.
Right.
And there you go, Ben.
She's driven and ambitious, not as, like...
And that's good, and I'm glad we made that distinction. Ty, you wanted to say something real quick?
Well, it actually kind of, if you think about it, we see part of the episode where Hannah's just like, losing it. She's panicking because she can't get her head around where she's at and all that sort of business. In a way, the perfect thing to do is to basically dictate every step of the way what she needed to do to win the challenge.
Right.
And as soon as Michaela started doing that, they ended up winning. I didn't really think she had a tone one way or the other. Basically, it was a matter of, you would like to win today? This is how we win today. And then they won today. And they embraced after they won. Mm-hmm. Michaela's fine. Michaela's got a good edit. Everybody thinks she's dumb, and she's not dumb.
I don't think she's dumb.
No. All the other people out there. The people out there, I think, are underestimating her severely. Mm-hmm. And she knows what's going on. When Adam was trying to scramble after the Maury vote, she knew what was going on. Mm-hmm. When Jay got busted with him and Will having the boys' club in the woods, sharing the idol together, she knew what was going on. She's very much like Sydney in that way, except she's a much bigger character than Sydney ever ended up being presented.
I think that she is totally a mid-merge, if not a possible contender for final tribal contender.
Right. And I mean, I think we all get, like I said, can anyone make an argument that someone is getting a better edit than Michaela? And a more all-around edit, I would say. Because I can only think of one person, and we're going to talk about him later. Ken, I was about to say. Ken's maybe the only contender, but Ben said something in our little private chat that we're going to talk about when we talk about Ken, because I think it's true of what the editing is doing with him, and it's something I've actually harped on in other episodes as well. So, the other Green Tribe people, Brett, Sydney, Will. Anyone want to come? Sunday. Will. Does anyone want to throw something out there about any of them? Because I think all three are dead in the water. It just all depends on when. And it's not
I really feel really bad for Will because never in the history of Survivor has anyone been taken completely out of the edit of finding an idol other than Will.
Right. He
was shown in shots because he was in the view frame. He was in the camera,
fucking frame and they couldn't.
But he did not get any say in terms of what happened with the idol.
And go ahead, Steven.
I was like, you can tell that the editors probably legit just wanted to shop him out, but they couldn't because he was too close to Jay. So if they tried shopping him out, they'd accidentally get some of Jay. So I don't know. I feel bad for Will because he's 18 and
this is a big thing.
No credit, nothing. Damn.
Well, in a way, though, this is good for his development because it's hey, you're 18 and you really care about something. It's not going to work out. Welcome to life. However, and this was something me and Billy talked about last week. Will voluntarily set out of the immunity challenge again. Another one he probably could have done well. Is this some secret strategy of Will we're not going to find out about until the secret scenes? Ty, go ahead.
I was just about to say he could be Brett from Samoa.
That's fair.
He could easily be Brett from Samoa, which is that he's not going to win, but he could go on an immunity run at some point because we don't know how he does in challenges one way or the other.
Why is he sitting out, though?
I almost see Jay as kind of like the Eric, the fellow who clotheslined himself from Samoa, where he's kind of like the big brother role, and they're out there and they find the idol together, and they're not showing us all this much because, Will's not going to win, and there's a lot of other, frankly, more interesting shit to be shown. But, like, I don't know. I mean, but we'll see. He's clearly not a dumb kid. He clearly managed to navigate the majority in their one vote as a tribe. So who knows? We'll see. Brett and Sunday are more worrisome. Sunday's got no edit whatsoever. I mean, she's a hag who's beat cancer. They need to
I agree. It's weird that she's getting no edit.
I think Sunday.
Hold on, Steven. I want to make a point. We didn't address though. Why the hell is Will sitting out of these immunity challenges though?
I think maybe because and tonight it was they had a 2-person advantage, so that I get. Like when you're on a tribe of 6, you have to sit out 2. That I kind of get because.
But why does he keep doing? Like he couldn't even set out of the reward because this is the second immunity challenge in a row, and he seemed like he would be decent at challenge.
I think at the end of the day, though, it's all moot because they won anyway.
I mean, I know it's all moot, but I'm wondering if there's a secret Will strategy that we're going to be talking about when we do the 10 years from now, the what really happened during Survivor, Millennials versus Gen Xers.
I think that's a reach.
Yeah, I think you're reaching there a little bit.
I may be reaching, but it's still interesting. If Will sits out next week,
he's probably going.
He's gonna sit out next week.
They probably, let's put it this way, that tribe is in a situation where the rewards are probably more important for them than the immunities because Sunday and Brett are so there to die.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I guess that's another thing is this episode was a little lackluster. But what if at the very beginning of next week's episode, Sunday gets like 3 confessionals in a row?
Then she's dead.
That's what I'm saying. And then we're just like, oh, this is another episode. But something
they're not going to lose.
Yeah.
They are not going to lose a challenge until the merge. That is your strong tribe that doesn't lose until the merge.
And I'm hoping that's the case because I don't want another little lackluster episode after tonight. So Green's out of the way. Let's attack Zeke. I don't think we ever did a super long discussion about him. Does anyone want to add anything about Zeke?
He's great.
He's great.
Zeke is the smart player that we thought he might be.
There we go, and I like that. And Michelle is in an awkward place. I was going to say Michelle is really dumb for saying I love Biggie. That's not what I said. It was Biggie who did that, and that's what we're talking about next, which is Biggie's
downplay.
Yeah, Biggie's completely god-awful gameplay.
I mean, I'll say this. I think Figgy had like the crucifixion edit tonight from like. I mean,
agreed completely.
From "I love you, Michelle" to her flopping in the blindfold challengers to like reaction shots when Ken jumped off the tower saying, "Oh, that looked like a hard fall. Gee, maybe like the one you might take tonight at Tribal Council."
Yeah.
And like her magical moment to Jess and Ken. Taylor and I have a thing.
Which we gotta talk about that, Ty. When was the last time we had a player that was as unself-aware as Figgy? Because remember, during the Murray vote, what saved Figgy was Michelle. It had nothing to do with fucking Figgy. And Figgy, and honestly, Figgy and Tyler not realizing that, Taylor.
His name is Taylor. Get his name right. We're in episode 6.
I don't give a shit about him. He's going to be voted out in 3 episodes anyways.
Man,
her and Tails.
Dirty.
You know what I'm saying? The fact that they couldn't hide it any better, I think is obnoxious. And also, I had no doubt she was going home. Like, just because Adam seemed somewhat smart, I was like, of course he's going to take him out. But Ty, when was the last time we had a player that was this lacks like that with self-awareness?
I don't. I mean, why don't you go to Stephen Lehman? He drinks less than
probably Spencer Bledsoe.
Spencer Bledsoe. I would argue though that towards the end of Kagion, he did get a little bit more.
No.
I was going to say maybe like RC from Philippines.
Yes. Because despite that, Stephen, at least I feel like Spencer did have more self-aware. And I don't want to get into a long argument about why, but I think the fact that he lasted as long as he did took at least some self-awareness. Ben, did you want to comment on that? On Figgy's lack of self-awareness and just how embarrassingly bad that is to watch?
No, I just found it to be a great entertainment point of the episode.
Yeah. All right. We blew through Figgy because no one had any counterpoints.
No, I mean,
because she was so ridiculously bad.
Well, the moment that those two started hooking up at the beginning, this moment was going to happen. It was just a matter of when. And the moment that they lost that thing, and the moment that we found out that Adam was their third vote that they needed, and basically we all knew this was coming. We just didn't know exactly when. When happened to be tonight. Honestly, I thought Taylor was worse.
Like, yeah, no,
I was sad that they did not target Taylor instead of Figgy.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's actually the thing is, I like to play devil's advocate, and I would normally, this is when, as a host, I would say, "What about blah blah blah, Figgy?" I can't do it tonight, and that's something viewers need to know. I'm normally, you may think I'm dumb at Survivor. I just play devil's advocate a lot because I think there could be a lot of good conversation. The devil's advocate we're playing though is, would it have been a better move to get rid of Tails?
Yeah, it all depends. Like,
okay, Ty, you're gonna go first. I'm gonna ask Stephen and Ben this as well.
In terms of, I'm worried about the physical threat, it would have made sense to maybe get rid of Taylor. That being said, Figgy's the smart one out of those two. Point blank, period, end of discussion. She is the smart one of those two. She is the one who's hooked up to Michelle. Taylor doesn't have a connection with Michelle without Figgy. You know, Figgy is the brains of that operation. Yeah. To that end, it makes sense because also you also have to consider the timing of it. They're probably merging in a round or two. And if they're merging in a round or two, Figgy gets by easier than does Taylor because all you have to do is like, oh, look at that big dumb fuck. That's tall and athletic. We should get rid of him before he starts winning challenges. That is a very simple merge strategy. Know about by now. So to that end, based on that, I think they did make the smart move. And she even said in her final words that she was basically trying to play balls to the wall. I think maybe she got a dumb edit because of how obvious their romance was, but maybe she wasn't as terrible a player as we saw in the edit because they have to tell the story with the edit, and it's explained away. Long story short, I think they did the right thing.
And that's very succinct. And the thing is, I thought about, well, maybe they would vote out Taylor, but no Tails, and I'm like, but it's going to be 2 or 3 rounds, and you want to win you want to win a couple more immunities because we don't know when merge is going to be. And then Stephen, you're next. Your opinion on the Tails or Figgy debate?
It's not
I think from a personal entertainment preference, I would have preferred had we lost Tails because I think Figgy was a bit of a spitfire who had some sort of kick to her. That wasn't a Latina joke now that I think about it, but anyway, I think Figgy was the smarter person to take out because Figgy had the connections to Michelle. Michelle has the connections to everyone else. Now Taylor only has Jay and maybe Will by extension. On top of that, I think that Figgy, as it's been said, was the brains of that operation because she didn't destroy her brain with a bunch of drugs like Taylor had so clearly done.
And I just want to point out, I actually think Jay would cut if the merge happens.
Yeah, Jay would cut his boy quick.
Yeah, if the merge happens and 7 people go up to Jay and say hand-boning Tails, he's just going to go, you know what? Sorry, man.
He's not going to be Sonic to him anymore.
Exactly. Ben, what's your opinion? Tails versus Figgy?
I think they made the right decision because I think they cut the brains out of the power couple, as much as I hate to refer it as such. But I feel like they did the right thing because they cut out the brains of the operation while at the same time also maintaining the stronger of the two in challenges, so that way they can maintain themselves until they get to a merge, swap, whatever is the next change in tribe operation.
And then, Ben, I want to stay with you because you said something in the little group me chat that we all do, which was that Ken's edit seems to be a bit more strategic than he appears to be. And that's something I actually was saying earlier, was that Ken's edit seems to remind me almost of similar to an Aussie in South Pacific, where there's not that much there, but they keep trying to fucking build it up and be like, and try to build them up to more than what they are.
No.
It's weird because they're either trying to maintain our interest in him because he somehow lucks out in the majority of some merge type situation, or they're building him up to be like the hero that gets chopped down somewhere down the mid-merge.
And that's what I think
he's going to be an integral character, whether or not it's him being the person that ends up on top or whether or not she's going to be the hero that gets taken down. the editors are making it very clear that we need to be invested in him.
Well, it seems to me like this is his audition for Heroes versus Villains 2.
Well,
that's how it seems to be. And Steven, I'm going to let you counterpoint, okay?
Okay, real quick, I'm counterpointing your sort of Ozzy comparison. I think that's
well, no. It's a light Ozzy in the sense that they're building him up more.
There's
Ken's way less of a douche than Ozzy.
There's no self-congratulatory. I am entitled to win because I deserve to win. Sort of rhetoric.
Yeah, and like I said, I'm just saying in terms of building them up. That's all I care about.
But I think I don't think Ken is getting like more of a strategic editor than he should be or should not be. I think a lot of that happened because he was the decoy boot tonight, and I think that had Jessica been the decoy boot, we probably would have gotten more material from her. And I think
that's a whole nother topic.
Well, yeah, that's another.
Yeah,
well, yeah, I mentioned that in our group me as well.
Well, I'm talking about Ken's overall edit though, because I have been saying this since like episode 2. Like Ken, he's a great guy, but they seem to be throwing so much shit at him. Why?
I think
is he really this good of a hero?
I mean, sure. I mean, depends on what the edit wants us to think. I think that he's a long-term character, whether he, dies the hero or theoretically lives long enough to see himself be the villain. I think he's there for the long haul. I don't know how long that long haul is, but yeah.
All right, and then Ty, I want to hear your thoughts on the beautiful Ken.
I think Ken's in a decent spot. Ken is in a decent spot. He has Adam now. Adam doesn't have the millennials to go back to. This is now a point to talk about the melding of the millennials and the Gen X people as a whole. You've got now. Granted, we've got the preview from next episode that makes it a little bit easier to figure out. But even before then, you had Chris and Zeke as like the Oklahoma buddy duo, kind of like coming together and forgetting about the Gen X thing. And you've got Zeke, who's talking about the fact that maybe I can't stick with the millennials forever. And you've got Adam, who happened to be Zeke's running buddy on the millennial tribe, also now siding with Gen Xers because they're kind of outside of that loop and everything's coming together. And who are they coming together with? People who were aligned on the Gen X tribe. Jessica and Ken and David, who's about to go drop his pants to Zeke because reasons.
And that's, do you remember episode 2? I said, what if the alliance was the losers from Gen Xers and something like that? Like, so I kind of
you said the losers from Gen X and the popular.
I got half it wrong, but still, that idea is still the same. However, though, is this idea of the millennials turning on each other? They keep saying they're turning on millennials. What they really mean is they're turning on Michelle and Tails, though, because Adam and Zeke will work together tomorrow. Hell, I think even Jay could wiggle his way in there. So I feel like it's a bit overdramatic to say that Adam and Zeke are turning on millennials, when in reality, they're getting rid of the cool kids from their tribe.
In the context of, like, of course, Jeff wanting to keep us in the confines of millennials versus Gen X, yes, they're turning on millennials because literally it is millennials or Gen X. But I think you're right, Colin, in that it's really just them being like, Taylor and Figgy, get out.
Yeah. And then I'm going to say this too, and feel free to agree with me or disagree with me. I really feel like once Taylor, Figs, Michelle, and maybe even Jay are gone, we might have a completely open ball game.
Yeah, I could see that.
And the thing about that, though, that sucks is when that happens, we are going to have people like Brett, Sunday, and Will still around, and they have no goddamn edit. So we know who's going to win these big battles, for at least for a little bit.
That sounds about right. I would argue. I mean, I don't know. This is all based on Ken, though. I guess my point is, I don't think Ken. You have been looking for reasons to like shit on Ken unnecessarily. You tried to shit on him when they booted Lucy, when he was basically the voice of reason in that. And I didn't understand it at all. And tonight you're trying to say that, they're trying to make him look smart. Yeah, he was smart. He went. Jessica kind of guided him on what he needed to do because, again, Jessica's not a dumb player. And Ken established trust wisely in episode 4. And to that end, they are now tight together. And Jessica helped his blind spot like he tried to help her blind spot. And now they're working on all cylinders. And together, they made Adam feel comfortable.
And I'm going to throw this back on Ben, though.
With them.
Because, Ben, you were the one that brought up in the group me, and I agree with you about the edit making Ken look better than he was. Can you just go into a little bit more detail about that, just kind of as a closing argument? Because Ty's saying that I'm just shitting all over Ken, but I think, Ben, you see what I'm seeing, I guess.
Well, my perspective is that, like, no matter what strategic situation he's in, we're reminded like Ken is an influential person in those decisions. And like even with the decisions with this episode, like he was made to be seen as a power player, even if he was not an actual person that was influential in the decision making of the vote out. So I feel like he's a person that is either going to be the hero character or the person that's taken down to change the perspective of the season.
But, and I guess I would say, in terms of Ty's defense to this argument, would be that we were shown, or at least edited to believe, that Ken is the reason Adam did what he did. Granted, it did take help from Jessica, though.
I actually have a different theory.
I disagree with all that. I disagree.
Okay, hold on. Okay, we're wasting too much time on this, so I'm going to give you each like 40 seconds, or a little less. So Ty first, and Steven.
Basically, Ken had to do what he did or he was going home, and he was able to do it. And to that end, that makes him strategically competent. It makes Jessica strategically competent because they worked together on it. The ultimate decision was Adam, and Adam made a decision based on spending all that time with the moronic couple. And, you know, sure, he got a little bit lucky off of that, but we can't dock points for Ken because Adam's smart. Like one thing does not detract from the other.
Okay, and that's very fair. And maybe if Figgy and Tails weren't such an obvious couple, this goes differently.
And maybe if it's not Adam, it goes differently. Like if you substitute Jay with Adam, this doesn't happen tonight. But it is what it is.
That's fair. Steven, like I said, you get 30 seconds now, and then we are going to start wrapping it up.
To the effect, that's what I was sort of going to say. I think maybe just add in that Jessica was the one who sort of was like, yo, you got to talk to Adam because like he's the swing, which I'm sure Ken had an idea, but the fact that Jessica had to reinforce, I mean, I don't think like we can say like, ooh, they made Ken do that. Like it was just sort of a situational thing that happened. Sometimes things happen because they happen.
But and maybe that's where me and Ben are getting at, is that the edit or things that keep happening are helping Ken a bit more than the edit's portraying, which sometimes that does happen with Survivor.
You have to add context to whatever happens.
Yeah. All right. So all of that junk is out of the way. So the very last thing I want to talk about, and this is kind of weird, is these challenges have been really fucking good this whole damn season, and I love the fact
I'm really happy about them.
Yeah, I'm very happy with them, and the fact that they took like the blindfold challenge and they made it just slightly different. Ty, talk about how cool that is. Like the blindfold challenge is normal, but then they said, okay, this time around you have to do little obstacles. Give us 5 seconds on that.
It was an interesting twist as opposed to it being what it is every season where people run into each other and knock each other the fuck out. In this particular case, there were like little intricacies to it. It was neat.
And also there was, as a dude, I noticed there was a lot less crotch level polls. That was really nice.
That would be really nice, yeah.
I mean, Ken could have totally blown out his knee, but, you know.
Yeah. I would rather have my knee blown out than get hit in that area. And then, Steven, that immunity challenge was fantastic. Also, have we ever seen a 2-player control the ball thing before?
Yeah, but not. It hasn't been to the extent where they're like on the little pedestals while doing it. So it was a nice little wrinkle to it. And I'm always a sucker for a table maze. So
I don't know. I just feel like this season they've been knocking them out of the park with all those challenges. All right. So before we wrap it all up, does anyone have any final thoughts? Anyone want to stand on a soapbox or anything? Want to bring up the Ken stuff some more? Because apparently that's what we care about the most.
Well, we have, I mean.
Oh, actually, Ty, can you do a power ranking, like just off the top of your head? Who do you think first, second, third place? And who would you put at the very bottom in terms of just edit? This is just off the top of your head.
The very bottom is Michelle. I don't see a world in which that tribe is in a tribal council next round. And if it is, then she's gone. Zeke is in a good spot. Ken is in a good spot. And I will say Michaela. I think David's too big of like a character coming out of his shell to actually be a contender to win. I think Zeke had a very big episode tonight as far as things. Oh, Adam and Michaela are kind of floating as like a third for me right now. Without having rewatched, Adam is a dark horse for me because he's smart.
See, I very much agree with that, and I do think I could picture David going to a final tribal council and getting third place. That's where I could see.
It's sort of like a Ty thing where we're like meant to love him as a sort of lovable person, and then he just gets
with Ken. It's a Steven versus JT situation.
That is
very fair. All right, so I want to thank Ben for joining us. I want to thank Steven for joining us. I want to thank Ty for joining us. And the viewers out there, also enter our fan contest. You get free shit. It's easy. There'll be more info about it in the box below. Have a wonderful night, everybody. Good night.
Bye.
Good night.